let's get this going. All right, everyone. I've come across a grave conspiracy, and I've got to get the message out before they find me. And this is the real deal. You won't believe what I found. It's really... Did you hear something? They got me, guys. Don't give up. Keep prepping. This is Reed. Out for the final time. Hey everyone. As you can see, I got to have a little bit of fun with the intro. I mean, why not? Bring a little more creativity to the channel. I've got all sorts of oddball ideas planned. Even on learning some visual effects to show things off and demonstrate things better. Sort of just go into some stuff. Even got a whole series planned on nuclear war. But I want the visual effects to actually get it to work well. Because I want to kind of move in and out with the visuals and sort of stuff like that. But I'm learning. Eventually I'm going to have to put something together and you all can laugh at me ridiculously and go, Reed, what kind of budget are you working with? Well, it's duct tape budget, but that's what it is. But I've got all sorts of stuff planned. Now, I wanted to do a couple of things here in the beginning before getting to the topic, which I hopefully lured you in a little bit with that introduction. And so some channel announcements. I decided to actually work on writing some books. Yeah, crazy idea, right? Well, one's going to be called Ground Zero Solar. And it's basically tons and tons and tons of solar stuff, covering pretty much everything I know about solar. Well, mostly everything. I'm not going to cover the useless bits. And also to include, improvised homemade components and stuff like that. So, if you're trying to make it off grid and you harvested a bunch of solar panels from, the end of the world, but you don't have components to come up with, what can you jerry-rig together? Homemade analog components and stuff like that. It's an interesting thing. But I'm working on it. It's going to take a while. But I'll let you know as it keeps going on that. Obviously, the videos I'm going to make companioning the book, they're going to be on the channel, so you sort of know where I'm going with that. And I think I might post in sort of sections or the whole book piecewise at a time on the Minds thing. I don't know. I'm still debating on that. Not sure what to do. And then if, people ever want all the information together, that's what the book will be for. Stuff like that. The other one is a fiction book, a post-apocalyptic story scenario. I love to read that kind of stuff. However, a lot of the books out there, they stink. They're horrible. I can't believe how bad they are. They're just awful. You got to dig for a lot of the good classics and stuff like that. I mean, it's just crazy. I consider good work The Last Babylon. Some of the other people think Patriots was a good book. I know, I'm already expecting some hateful comments, but that book was awful. Horrible. I mean, I know what he was trying to do, teach people on stuff, but... oh man, the fiction was so bad. Ugh. And for me, if you start getting really bad on the writings like that, you lose me. And I just stop reading. I mean, it's just how it is. And since I like to write, and I do a bit of my own creative writing and fictions like that, I said, you know what? Instead of me complaining about everyone, I might as well write my own. So I'm working on that. Haven't figured out what I'm going to call it yet or what I'm going to do with it. But I got some ideas. And I'm trying to put some pen and paper. And all my free time, which is almost close to zero, because I'm always so busy with life and everything else going on and making YouTube videos, answering comments, working way too long at my job, doing the garden. Such is life. The other thing is I wanted to shout out a couple channels I think people should go check out. One channel I really like is Pennsylvania Prepper. She has a Harvest Right freeze dryer and does a lot of freeze drying. And it's interesting to me. I find it quite interesting to know what works and what doesn't work in the freeze dryer and kind of see what methods they're messing with. I plan to eventually buy one. I'm slowly saving up for that. And so I can get one. And it's giving me some ideas. Like if you've seen, I like the freeze dried food that I can store because it does work really well. And having your own freeze dryer would be great. But knowing how and what successes work and what's a failure, big shorthand actually getting stuff moving along on that. So I like her channel. Another person I really like is Liberty Garden. It's obviously got a lot of gardening stuff. And gardening tips are very helpful. The guy's also pretty down to earth and just has some regular nice videos. I enjoy watching him. So check it out. Another person I think you guys might like is a Modern Refugee. I haven't completely gone through his whole catalog. In fact, I have only gone through about half, and I need to leave a bunch of comments on his channel. But I do think he does a good job as well. If you're curious about any of the people, links will be in the description. For other people I've subscribed to and stuff like that, I'll get to you. I promise. I'm just behind, as always. And if I overload this video too much with fluff, no one's going to continue listening. But back to the point. So what is the point of this video? The voting conspiracy lurking out there in the darkness. Now, if you're wondering what I'm talking about here, well, I want to share with you a conversation I had with someone back when I was voting. It was actually one of the voting officials, and the last time I voted, which was the midterm elections. I actually vote in every single election, even the little tiny elections. I consider it an important civic duty. Yeah, I know. Some people think it does nothing, it's pointless. I at least try to use the system where I can. I think it's important. But feel free to disagree with me. Anyways, back to the point. So I'm getting there, fill it out, put it in my little bubbles, for all the little candidates I liked and didn't like, and so on. Yes, I did mean that. Some of the candidates I don't like, but compared to their competitors, they're better. But it's not really a great choice. I know, our system's amazing sometimes. And I go up to the machine, and this is the way it always works around here, is you put the thing in the machine, sucks it in, and says, hey, your vote's counted. Great. And I looked at the guy standing next to the machine, and I said, I really wish this thing would give me a receipt. And he's surprised. Totally surprised. So, what do you mean a receipt? I said, so I can at least know it counted my votes accurately. And so I can know that nothing's, off. And he goes, well, I don't understand, sir. I mean, what would that prove? Well, that the machine's working correctly. He seemed completely flabbergasted that I think the thing should spit out a receipt. And so we started talking. And of course, other people are going in and out to vote, and and stuff like that. And he's kind of wanting to keep it quiet so we don't draw a lot of attention. But I was talking about is, we fill all this stuff out. We've got paper ballots here, which is really good. I like paper ballots. But the problem is we put them in a machine and it's a black box. I don't know if it's counting my vote correctly. And I was explaining this to him. And he's all, well, you're kind of talking about a conspiracy, aren't you? I'm like, oh, good grief. A conspiracy? Let me explain the issue. And so I went off on him. And so you're going to hear my side of the going off part. But it wasn't like yelling like that. I just presented my idea to him. And I said, well, look at it this way. All right. You as the average citizen, like me, okay, if I wanted to audit an election, I cannot go and request a copy of all the ballots, pull out the boxes, and do my own count. Only certified election officials are allowed to touch the darn things. Okay? Secondly, these machines, they're tested, before the election and after the election that they count things correctly. However, a single person, a single clever programmer that's deciding to be a little biased and influence things on his own, he could go into the counting system and he could say, you know what, I know at this place where these machines are deployed, they always put the Democrats on the top, the Libertarians in the middle, and the Republicans at the bottom, if there is three. Or otherwise it's just Democrats on top, Republicans on the bottom, right? So they can do is they can write some code. And what they're going to change is they're going to weigh the counting to favor one side or the other. And just a little bit, say like 10%. Or, 15%. Not enough to throw a giant red flag that 100% all went one way, but enough to sway things, right? Now, if you even think about this, is you could have it where the code is gaffed farther, is because, they set the date and time in these machines, so the code only activates on election day. It's not like election days are surprises. No. So you can say it's election day, and they're going to do that. And I said, what if this person did that? How would you know it happened? And then, also, how would I know this thing's actually counting my vote correctly when I put it in here? And he's like, well, that's just really nuts. No one person could do that. I'm like, why not? I'm a computer programmer. I deal with this stuff all the time. Do you guys have audits on the code? In Vegas, they apparently have to submit the code of the gambling machines to a state agency to audit and review it. Do you guys have the source code to audit and review these things work? And of course the answer was no. They only have their set of instructions to how to manage and operate the machines. They do not have the source code to audit. And I said, it is their commission. And he didn't know. which is fine because he's a local election official. Just helping there to serve things out, and I think it probably was a volunteer actually, because I don't remember seeing him at some of the other things. But anyways, and I went looking around in my state, find out, hey, is there actually a review board? Do they actually have to submit code and all that? Nope. Thing's a giant black box. Great. Absolutely wonderful. You have no idea if the development team and the deployment team are separated. You don't know if there's two-man rules, basically, where it takes one person to write the code and another person to review it, and then it gets approved for deployment. Don't know if that's present. We don't even know how good the change tracking in the repository is. So basically, one person could sneak something in. And actually, if you really want to look at how hard it would, or not hard it would be to gaff the system, there's an annual contest called the Obfuscated C Contest, or Underhanded C Contest. It's where people write programs that look innocuous. They look like they do exactly what they're supposed to do. And they pass through tons of reviews, and then they actually do something underhanded. But this is a contest to see how underhanded you could be, and it's out in the open to sort of demonstrate this. Imagine the people that are professionals at this that are working in places. So if you were, as much as they bring up, Russia influenced the election, I will eventually cover that giant baloney. But anyways, think about it. Where are they going to want to, if you were a foreign intelligence service, and you're like, I want to influence the American election system, because I want to get certain people inserted in certain places, put someone in right in those counting systems. Seriously. Get someone in there that's messing with the counting systems of those machines that count the votes, and you can do a lot of influencing. And plus, it's going to be hard to track down. See, I actually would love a fully transparent election system in America. We don't have one. It doesn't exist right now. And see, what I'm talking about is that, you register to vote, and so they issue basically a voting voucher, shall we say. This is a unique system, and you could do something like with cryptocurrency, so you can't respend things, something like that, or there's other things, but it's a voucher. And when you go in, you present the voucher, which is anonymous. It has nothing tied to you. It's just randomly issued in a lot, and then you get a ballot. The ballot has a serial number, okay? And when it's processed the machine, the receipt comes back, and you got your serial number to match your ballot, and you go home. And there's nothing that traces back to you. They're all randomly selected pieces, but they all individually tie to a single vote. All right? And then when the state is done, not that things swing into recount status if things are really close, that the results are actually open and that people could check things on themselves. And when I mean check, I mean that the systems that scan all these ballots in, that they scan images and the state puts the images out on the internet for you to go look at yourself. Yeah, that would be open. There's some things in there where there's issues, like, how do we know that the ballots are truly unique images and so on and so forth. But one of the key checks on that is if everyone has a piece of paper and they go look on the system and they find their serial number with their piece of paper and that image doesn't look right, maybe there's some shenanigans going on. But if spot checks on tons and tons of people that go out and are paranoid, like I am, and we go look and look, hey, that's actually right, looks good, hey, things are going to look a lot better. And then with all the images, you as a private citizen can actually do your own counts. There's going to be some variance just because of, people might qualify or disqualify, things like that, but software used to recognize that could be published by the state as well, and you can check it yourself. That would be a very, very open system. Right now, things are very closed. In other words, that we have all these theater to make you believe the system works, but there's not enough checks and enough audibility in the system to really prove that it does. And this has bugged me for a long time. I mean, shoot, the technology's gotten so advanced, there's no reason why we can't have a completely audible and open system. And I would really like to see something like that up here. Because like I said, right now with these stupid black boxes counting our votes, or you hear about those totally electronic systems, you don't really know If one person is really, really angry, because you see enough of them all on the videos on the internet, there's tons of people that are ridiculously angry and are, looks like, willing to do outrageous things to get their way. Someone might say, you know what? That person's evil. We got to rig this election to stop them. Could definitely happen. So next time you're out there voting, think about it. Is this thing really doing what it's supposed to? And start asking questions. I'm going to start asking a lot more questions of my officials around here and start pushing to say, hey, what's it going to take to get a truly open and transparent voting system in my state? Of course, you know, if you get a huge amount of pushback, it's going to lead to more conspiracy theories. And it's going to make me even more suspicious. Like, if people want to hide things in this area, because the government should not be able to hide things like this. If they're trying to hide stuff, really question it. Well, this is me ranting about something, and I think it's an important topic. Take care, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or vacation. This is Reed, out for now.